Once upon a time, my mom also had the brilliant idea to cover things with cheese to get her kids to eat it, so makes sense.
Mom's gotta do anything to make the kids eat.
Hello everyone, it is Priya Krishna. I am here in my home kitchen in Dallas with my mom, Ritu. Mom, say hi.
Hi.
It is almost Mother's Day over here, and we wanted to make one of the dishes from our cookbook, Indianish, which we wrote together in this very kitchen. It is tomato rice with crispy cheddar. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is bubbly, it's cheesy, it's bright, it's tangy. It hits all of the notes you want. You can literally just eat it out of the pan by yourself. My cookbook photographer referred to it as pizza in rice form, and I feel like that's
a pretty good
pretty
way to
accurate.
do it.
It's just a wonderful all-purpose dish. This is kind of one of my favorites, not only because it's really simple to put together, and the sort of flavor to ease ratio is exactly what you want for these kinds of times, but it also really takes advantage of ingredients you probably already have in your fridge and pantry right now. You know that these days fresh produce can be really hard to come by. Fresh tomatoes in Indian cooking bring out this really nice brightness that contrasts well with kind of the more spice-heavy flavors of Indian food. But last week we made this dish and we used we used like 2 cans and 5 tomatoes because that's what we had. So use whatever you have, even if it means using a couple cans of diced tomatoes. It'll still taste great. You're gonna find a really sharp cheddar. The sort of contrast between like the really tangy, pungent cheese and the brightness of the tomatoes is really what brings this dish alive. And yes, in case you noticed, we grate our cheese on a Beauty and the Beast plate. I think, Mom, how far does this date back?
This is from Nita's probably second birthday.
Okay, this is from my sister who is over 30 years old, her second birthday.
One of those things that stuck around.
And I think we still have the matching spoon and cup that goes with this set.
We do.
I remember it was 7th grade and we had to each bring in like a dish for a Spanish class. We were vegetarian at the time, and the only one available in the textbook was one for Spanish rice. You know, this recipe was basically born out of fusing that South Indian tomato rice, the Spanish rice, and then just making it really simple and family friendly.
I remember you put green peppers in it that time, and you pretty much, one of those early days when you ventured into the kitchen and did something on your own.
Yes, don't really know her in the kitchen very often. Has that changed since she's been home?
Yeah, I think it has. She has made some dishes all on her own, like the tomato rice that she made the other day.
Okay, but like only when you are fasting, because it's Tuesday, you fast on Tuesdays, or I have to do it for an Instagram live, or...
The question is, are you allowed? And yes, you are.
All right.
We get asked, what is the simplest dish that we can make that, you know, people who are, yeah, I think that's good.
Plenty.
Getting into eating Indian food, but don't have the taste for a lot of the spicy stuff. This is one of those dishes.
And it really does just kind of
Steps.
taste like pizza.
Yeah. You could hide all kinds of vegetables in it if you wanted to.
That's true.
So it will appeal to everyone.
It's like a stretch to call it Indian food, I feel like.
Yeah.
It has a chili in it and some onions.
Yeah.
Record button.
Done.
Is it recording?
Yes, it is.
All right, cool. So my dad is now recording. Use whatever oil you want. We use olive oil. One thing I always talk about is my mom kind of discovered that Indian food pairs really well with olive oil, just because kind of like the heady aromatic spices pairs well with this really fruity flavor that olive oil has. But again, use what you have. I want to talk really quickly about the rice. We make our rice in the microwave. Dad, what are your proportions? 1 cup rice,
2 cups of water,
2 cups of water,
15 to 16 minutes on
15 to
microwave.
16 minutes in the microwave on high,
Full power, yes.
covered
No, not covered.
and uncovered. My dad just kind of like lets it sit for a little bit, and then you've got perfectly cooked rice. And we use long grain basmati rice, and I think that's what works really well in this dish. But again, use whatever rice you've got on hand.
I'm gonna put the green chilies.
Dad, do you want to just get into that pan? He's such a pro at this now. If you don't have an Indian green chili, use a serrano. Just make sure to chop it up nice and fine so you don't get those big bites of spice, unless that's your thing.
Now, what's the process of the energy with Priya?
There were a few tense moments, but for the most part, we had a lot of fun. I learned a lot.
Mom learned how to food style.
Yeah, exactly.
What, Dad?
Look here.
Okay.
I'm constantly trolling the Instagram these days, and when I see other people make dishes, I love it even more.
Ooh, I'm gonna preheat the oven. There we go. I'm gonna turn the heat up to high just because we want these tomatoes to soften quickly. And basically we want them to turn into a like super chunky tomato sauce. Is you good, Dad? Okay. And as it cooks down, I'm just gonna use the back of my spoon to mush the tomatoes a little bit. You don't want them to be like baby food mush, but you just want them to be getting a little saucy. Be mindful when you're salting these, because remember that the cheddar cheese you're putting on top is gonna be really salty, so you want to just salt conservatively, knowing that you're gonna be adding a really salty topping at the end. Get a big bowl and toss your rice and tomato sauce in there first. You getting this, Dad? He's got it. He's got his game face on.
We're hiring.
This can be any rice.
Okay.
Leftover rice works great.
Leftover rice works great too, but it can be any rice.
Yeah.
As you can see, we've maintained the chunks and some texture.
Okay, you mix and I'll toss that in.
Okay. All right. It always shocks me how quickly this recipe comes together. And listen, if you wanted to, you could totally just stop here. Any square baking dish will do. My mom just has an exceptionally good pottery collection. We like to go pretty cheesy. All right, Mom's just gonna move the rack. All right,
Careful, don't touch.
be extremely careful.
Here, let me put it.
If you have a mom with you, maybe let the mom put it in the oven. All right, I'm gonna set a timer for 3 minutes. Just hit the, we can pause.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
perfect.
good. Here, Dad, why don't you get a nice shot of it? Go real close. Yeah. All right. This is just so satisfying.
Careful because it's
yeah.
going to be very hot.
I often make the mistake of eating this while it's still hot, and I have zero regrets every time. Dad, are you filming me? You got me? I love the frequency with which I get to eat this dish these days. It is such a simple dish, but it is like one of those things that is so much greater than the sum of its parts. Oh, okay. My dad wants to come.
You just had sweet.
Okay.
Here.
This is a bonus time. I'm always thinking about it in terms of how we are getting to spend time with Priya, which normally doesn't happen. She runs in and out.
I feel very lucky to be able to be with my mom on Mother's Day, and if you can't, maybe you can make a dish that is inspired by her. This dish definitely reminds me of my mom every time I make it, and it's kind of, comfort in a pan, and I feel like that's what we're all really looking for these days.
Yeah,
Okay, Dad,
perfect.
you can stop.